I'm Jonah, and today I will be teaching you how to make Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookies. Now, before we begin, I want to tell you a little bit about these cookies. In 1930, a woman by the name of Rachel Wakefield invented these cookies. What happened was she was making a basic cookie, but she didn't have any chocolate. So she took a Nestle candy bar, broke it into chunks, and put it in. Now, she thought that they would melt and make the cookies really chocolatey, but instead the bars held their form and created this gooey texture. Before we begin, I am going to wash my hands for sanitation purposes. Now, before I tell you about the ingredients, the first thing we can do is preheat our oven to 350. Okay, now, the ingredients you will need to make these cookies are 2 1/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 cups of Nestle chocolate chip cookies, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 2 sticks of butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2 eggs, and 3/4 a cup of brown sugar. Okay, what we're gonna do first is we're gonna put all the dry ingredients into one bowl. So that includes the flour, the salt, and the baking powder. Now, before you go to the dry ingredients, it is important to mix these together. That way all the powders are equal and you don't get a chunk of baking powder when you bite into one of the cookies. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, for your wet ingredients, you're going to put the butter, the vanilla, your brown sugar, and your eggs, which you have to crack. Into a bowl. Okay, now with the ingredients that we did not put in that bowl, we are going to put in this bowl. So that includes our sugar, our white sugar, our brown sugar, our vanilla, and our butter. Now, we mix. Now, after mixing and your ingredients look like this, you can now add your eggs one at a time. So what you do is put an egg in, and then mix until it's well blended and there's no yolk left. Now, add your second egg. Okay, after you beat in both eggs, your mixture should look something like this. Okay, now what you do is you're going to add the dry to the wet. So, what you do is you take your mixture, get your dry ingredients over here, and then take a measuring cup, about a cup, and add about 1 cup to it, to the wet, at a time. That's pretty good. Another cup. Put it in and mix. Okay. Now after, or when you have enough dry mixture that it looks like you can't really get a cup, you can just put the rest in. Like so. And mix. Now that you have all of your ingredients mixed, you can add the chocolate chips. Now, when mixing the chocolate chips around, I find it best to use a tool that has a sturdy handle, like a wooden spoon, because this dough can get really stiff, and it can get really hard. Okay, there are 2 ways you can bake this dough. The more common way is to take like a tablespoon, take a scoop of the dough and put it on, and do that over and over again. But the way I'm going to do it is I'm actually just going to put all the dough onto the pan and spread it out. That way, instead of coming out in cookie form, they'll come out in bar form. So what you have to do first is take a 9x13 jelly pan, spray it, and then put the dough on. Now, how you spread all this dough on this pan. Now, the tool I use to spread this is called a spatula. And this spatula is usually used to decorate cakes, but today it's going to be used for spreading cookie dough. This is very tricky. Now, after you have evenly spread out your cookie dough, you can put the cookies in the oven, or bars. My oven is not ready yet, so I'm going to take this time to tell you a little bit more about the woman who made these and the nutritional information of these bars. So, Rose Wakefield and her husband in 1930 bought a toll house, which is a building in which people who were traveling on a toll road would stop in and pay for using the road. Now with that, they also built an inn for people who were staying or who were traveling on the road. Her job was to cook and clean. Her specialty in cooking was desserts. Like I said before in the beginning, she was making cookies one day, and then she wanted to put chocolate in them, but the only chocolate she had was some Nestle chocolate bars. So she put them in, and she thought that they would melt, but they didn't. They stayed in shape and ended up becoming these really delicious chocolate chip cookies. As for the nutritional information about these bars, they're not the healthiest healthiest food in the world. One serving, which is one cookie or one 2-inch by 2-inch bar, contains about 4 grams of total fat, 2 of which are saturated. One cookie also contains 80 milligrams of sodium. Now once your oven is ready, you can put these in. You want to bake these for about 18 to 20 minutes, depending on how much dough you have. If you have a lot of dough, then probably 20 to 25. But if you have as much as I have, probably 18 to 20. It doesn't matter what rack you put these on in the oven, just as long as you put them in. Yeah. And so, after 18 minutes of baking, if your cookies look like this, which, if it's hard to tell on the camera, they're a light golden brown, then they are ready to come out. And you should probably let them cool for about 20 minutes on a cooling rack. And after that, you can enjoy them.